What's going on, everybody? I'm back. You are listening to the sounds of Mr. Rodney Gibson here on Pool, musicspool.com. This is the Business Blueprint 2.0, and this is your man, Big Stu, Scott Steward, Professor Steward. All right, let's get into it. You can go to musicspool.com to hear that tamborum from Mr. Rodney Gibson. He happens to be here in the Business Blueprint 2.0 as well, but he's a musician looking to monetize off of his artistry, and he decided to put his music up on the new music streaming platform called Pool, where you can find that musicspool.com. Today, we're in the Business Blueprint 2.0, which officially ended its 8-week beta. This past Friday was the last day. But because of the quarantine and this COVID and this the way that our world has changed over the last 6 weeks or so, 5 or 6 weeks or so, quite honestly, I got a little distracted. And so I lost the consistency. I've been in a pivot over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Businesses have been disrupted. The plans that were laid forth in the third and fourth quarter of 2019 leading into first and second quarter of 2020 have been blown up. The spot has been blown. And so for the last few weeks, I've been personally gathering my mind, getting my mind right, thinking about what a quarantine is and accepting the fact that we're in it, and then also continuing to think about business and what business today looks like and what business tomorrow will look like. So thank you guys for being in here in the Business Blueprint 2.0. I think we started to kind of fall off at about week 6 or so, which we were talking about the pitching your business idea. And to think about when you're pitching your business idea, I want you to think about how you position your business to be attractive to investors, right? And what we came up with is that the investors want to know that your business is scalable, that your business can run automatically, right? And so I talked about in the past presentations, videos, where for many years I kind of did business wrong. I did entrepreneurship wrong anyway, and created these business models that forced me to have to be there in order for the business to be profitable. And so now, and over the last couple of years or so, the mind shift has been to think about how the business operates, whether I'm physically available or not. Like, do I have to be at a particular place in order for this business to operate? And the truth of the matter is, I don't want to have to always physically be at a place in order for a transaction to be made or money to be made in the business. So what does business look like for us after the dust settles? Many of us might be thinking about how we make that sudden change while we're already in transition. And so the pivot comes from the term, I know the pivot, I associate the term the pivot. If you think about basketball and you're dribbling, you have some momentum, you're going down court, you're dribbling the ball, and then all of a sudden you have to stop the dribble. Your objective is to get to the basket, and along the way you stop the dribble. But once you pick up the ball and stop, you either have to take your shot or you look for a pass. And in order to do that, you have to stay on one foot. So you have to stay in the lane, you have to stay on the rails, but you can't move forward, you can't move backward, you can't go left or right, but you can turn around. You can find another perspective as long as you leave that one foot planted on the rails. And that's what makes it the pivot. You stay in this one spot, but you're forced to look at your journey from another perspective. So you can turn, which is what we're doing. You have to turn and look, where else can I go in order to get this basketball into the rim, into the bucket to score a point. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're like, something, they call it a act of God occurred while we're working on our business. We stopped, the world kind of changed, and now we have to look for another way to get to our ultimate goal. And this is why the business plan is so important, because the business plan is iterative. The business plan is part of the goal, but you can go back and you can start to reshape. And so actually, quite honestly, I'm going to show you here. That's what I've had to do in my own business plan. So I use Live Plan. I don't have anything to do with Live Plan. I didn't help build it. I don't own any part of it. But I use Live Plan, and I'm going to show it to you here. I'm going to turn my camera around if I can. I don't know if I can. Yes, right? And so I can turn, and then you see I'm working on the new iteration of the plan. So I'm looking at the management team for Genius Lab. You know, there's my CFO. I'm looking to see who else. You know, even going back to having to change the name, right? Because quite honestly, I haven't looked at the plan, the physical plan, since, you know, it was under, you know, since making the name change, right? So let me go ahead and do that. I just want you to see that I am in that iterative process when it comes to the business, right? And so you may have to go back and look at your actual business plan. You may have to go look at your forecasts and things of that nature. All right. So I just wanted to take a minute to show you that this is why it's important to even have the business plan. So the truth of the matter is, some of you are doing exceptionally well in your business. This change in the global economy allows your business to continue and thrive. Some of us are not doing so well. We're kind of totally thrown off track and looking for ways that we may have to even consider changing our entire business model. And some of us are just simply kind of just trying to figure it all out. So either you're doing well or you're creating something new, right? And you're in the pivot. You're either continuing to make the transition, you're in a pivot, or you're not quite sure what to do. So what I want you to think about are these, 5 or 6 things. So number 1, I want you to go back and get clear. Get clear about why you are in the business that you are in the first place. That's called checking the pulse. Check your pulse of business to make sure that there's still life and energy and excitement and purpose in what it is that you're doing in business in the first place, okay? So get clear, check the pulse of your business intention, and get very, very clear about why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. So that's the first step. The second step, I want you to, once you get clear, I want you to also ask yourself, why are you doing it? So once you're clear about what you're doing, or actually it looks like it may be the same, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? So get clear about why you're doing it. The second thing is, remind yourself about the problem that you're solving. Has the problem changed for your target customers? Have your customers changed their priorities, their spending priorities, their needs priorities? What is different with your customers? So that's why we had that piece about customer relationship management and knowing your customer. Can you pick up the phone and call them and say, don't just send an email, but maybe you have a gigantic database and sending emails is the best way for you to communicate with them. But for your top tier customers, your customers that have the highest touch, get on the phone and call them, right? Now, this is what we should be doing. This is what we have to be doing. So yes, it takes a whole lot of energy to pick up the phone and call somebody that you've done business with and ask them the questions about what they need. So if nothing else, just call to check in on their well-being. So you have to do that. Now remember, I'm not going to tell you anything that, one, I haven't done for myself, or two, I'm not planning to do or willing to do. So yes, I've had to pick up the phone and call clients and simply ask, how can I assist? What do you need? Where do you need me to be? And remind them that I'm on their team and I'm here to help support whatever they need to get to the basket, right? While I'm helping them, it also helps me because that is my business, to be of service, right? So you know what problem you're solving. You're clear about why you're doing what you're doing. Now, get real clear once you know why you're doing it, you know what problem you're solving. Reevaluate your solution. Did your supply chain change? Did your suppliers change? Did your cost change? Did your method of delivery change? What has to change? What will be changing in your business? So, you know, when you think about your solution, think about how that changes for you. Did you have to go out to the store to purchase your decision? And if it comes to shipping, what are your new shipping protocols? What are your new shipping measures? What are your new shipping requirements? Something to think about. And remembering that we're talking about getting ready for the pitch and being attractive to investors. How automated is your system? And this is something that I continue to pitch, this idea of business, entrepreneurship, and technology kind of merging as one. And this is why one of the reasons I saw somebody was telling me, Angela was telling me, that Amazon is now worth $1 trillion. It's $1 trillion business. And that's great because you understand a couple of things. With the demand for all of this data, right, sharing of data that's happening on the internet and with video conferencing services and the transfer of zeros and ones, right, bits and bytes, Amazon sits at one of the epicenters of data and data storage, right? So people need more of it, more bandwidth to make sure that those files are still being transferred at a quality speed that causes lossless compression so you don't lose quality in the delivery. There's a higher demand for that. So that's why Amazon's business would grow over the last couple of months, over the last 6 or 7 weeks. So think about how you're going to more automate your systems, right? And this is what we need to do. So when you're thinking about pitching your business, right? Again, talk about and be prepared to talk about your business in terms of data, numbers, time periods, and deadlines, right? How many people have you served? What are sales projections? So again, we're going to be talking about numbers. We're going to be talking about dollars. We're going to be talking about cost of production. We're going to talk about revenue. If you are uncomfortable with talking about your business in those terms, please let me know, because I have a financial therapist that will help you get comfortable with your relationship with money. So these conversations become easier. One, that you're, first of all, even having the conversation about money, but then opening up your mind to make sure that those conversations are not small conversations, that they're large conversations about money that tend to have a global perspective attached to it, okay? So please keep that in mind, right? And then get comfortable with talking about your business. Find your voice. I've only been doing talking in this medium for about 2 years now. I can talk. I go to Toastmasters when I'm not traveling or when I'm able, but I practice speaking, but practicing to speak in this medium, social media, video. Get comfortable with doing that. Get comfortable with finding your voice. Listen to yourself. Hear how you project. Think about how you might come off, and just get comfortable with you. Don't compare yourself to what someone else is doing. They have lots of numbers. That's their journey. You do you. Get comfortable with you in talking about your business in ways that make sense. It's a practice. You don't always get it. You don't always get it in the beginning. So make sure you're strong enough to be able to talk about your business in ways that make sense, that have a clear trajectory, a clear storyline, so people understand what it is that you have to offer and how it benefits them and how they can purchase it when they decide it's time to purchase, okay? And those are some of the things I want you to think about. I need you to be interactive, okay? I need you to post your questions. There was an assignment in this group for you to post a pitch, right? A minute or less, or maybe I said 2 minutes or less. Tell me about your business. So that's your assignment going forward. Still, I need you to not be afraid. Stop being intimidated. Again, this is not the group to motivate you to do these things. Get your video up. Quickly introduce, pitch your business. What's the problem? What do you solve? What's your solution? How do you make money? How do you pay it back? How much money will you make over what period of time, right? How will you solve this problem? You have like no more than 2 minutes. If you go over 2 minutes, don't worry about it. Just keep in mind that you have 2 minutes. Let me give you the feedback, because the feedback I'm going to give you is going to be the feedback that will take you to the next level in your ability to pitch. And you'll keep going. You'll keep practicing. You'll keep listening to yourself. So don't be afraid of that. I know it was a mouthful, but nevertheless, take notes, go back, rewind, drop questions, practice it, post your video, and from there, we'll go to the next level. Okay, I'm going to post a couple of more videos. I'm working on getting at least one more guest speaker in here to talk about business strategy. But if that doesn't happen, no worries. I'll be back to talk about customer relationship management. And then we have one more conversation about the use of social media. But if you're not using social media right now, no worries, no rush. Be prepared to have that conversation in the next few days. So thank you for chiming in. Until next time, peace. Thanks, Rodney. Get that video done. Peace.